Hey, party people. This is La Spacer.
And I'm Cqqchifruit.
And you are now listening to Trqpiteca FM.
Here on Lumpin Radio, WLPN LP Chicago, 105.5 FM. And we are here. It's Monday, September 15th. I can't believe it's the middle of September already. Second summer is in full effect, so we're enjoying the last few kisses of sunlight and hotness and heat before fall gets going. And we have some special guests in the studio here with us today. And we're going to do a quick recap for the pregame of our last few performances, including La Spacer's live set at NobCon and my set at Smartbar, and then we'll get into the mix with our special guests. So, La Spacer, do you want to chat about NobCon?
Yes. I cannot believe it's already been a week since that happened. It was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. Got to meet new people in the community that traveled from different places. Different people got to hear me perform and play with my machines. That was very exciting and a little nerve-wracking at first. I had a little bit of like performer's anxiety before performing, and you can tell when I have performance anxiety if I'm enjoying a dinner and then I can't finish it.
Yeah, you're like, gotta go. I mean, that actually happens to me. I feel like when I have a big gig, I don't eat that much that day for some reason. Yeah. But your set was great. What were you playing on that night?
I was playing with my handy dandy Roland MC 909. And I get asked a lot, like, how long have you had that for? Since 2007. It was a gift to myself for my 19th birthday.
Aww.
And fun fact, it was my very first Groovebox drum machine. So I'm very familiar with it. And then I also brought with me the Korg micro sampler and a Korg Electrive, the ER1.
Nice. Well, the crowd was loving it, and we asked for an encore. We got not one, but two encores.
Well, that was a little happy mistake. I was like thrown off by the beginning and ending of the sets. It wasn't like at a like, let's say, what is it, like it wasn't on the zeros or 30s. It was like
9:10,
9:40. So when it was 9:30, I was like, oh, okay, I've been playing for 30 minutes. This is the end of my set. And yeah, like people are clapping and I'm like, thanks. And then Travarsi was like, you got another track? You got 10 minutes left. I'm like, oh, that's when I remember, like, oh yes, it ends at 9:40. So it was a really quick, smooth, okay, let me get back into grooving some more.
Well, we couldn't really tell, so it just felt like you were just being extra generous with us. So thank you for that. Yeah, and Travarsi played
a back-to-back live set with Alex 106.
That went hard. I wasn't ready. I know Travarsi, and I've heard them play back-to-back before, but I think I still wasn't ready for like how hard they were going to go. And everybody else in that lineup, they were really dropping some like banging live techno. So shout out to Travarsi for curating that whole lineup of the Saturday Night Live at NobCon. And then we also had our friend Caro Arroba that was playing in the other like chill out room. That room was always really fun because they have live analog visuals that are kind of going off of the live music. So it was cool. And then did you catch any like workshops or talks on Sunday?
No, unfortunately I didn't. I got there a little too late for that. But I guess I would say I got my own like personal workshop discussion happening with this company from North Carolina that makes modular video like synths to play with video and sound, and that was really cool getting to meet them and for them to really break it down, what their device does. I was just like, ooh, I want one for our future storefront.
Yes, we're out here scouting out all the possible merchandise to bring y'all in the near but somewhat distant future. And I guess I could recap a little bit of my set at Smartbar this past Friday for Madeline's statement piece residency. I was filling in for Isabella from the Maricas records out in Spain. She got double booked, so that was sad, but I was also happy to be able to fill in. So I played a half vinyl, half digital set. I really wanted to rinse out some of the newer records that I've gotten that I haven't had a chance to play yet. And also just kind of get into the groove. It really does feel different playing and spinning at home or even in the record in the radio station versus in the club. So I had a really good first half vinyl set and then threw in some samples, some vocal samples I've been working on. Shout out to Annika Wolf of Aquila Recordings. They're doing a really cool mentorship program where they're working with artists to help them develop and release new tracks, work on their workflow, software, things like that. So they kind of helped me get up and running with some of my samples. So shout out to them. And then the headliner was Jennifer Loveless from Berlin. She was keeping it real groovy and sexy. And then Madeline came in for the closing set. So we had a really good night. And then we were scheming and dreaming of our next event production. More TBD. It's very secret. It's top secret right now. So we're not going to spill too much on that.
we gotta lock a few things down and then we'll be able to share.
Yeah.
Spread the word even.
Exactly. But we have two very special people in the studio with us today that we're excited to connect with. We've seen both of these people out in the club. We've seen a lot of the behind the scenes work that they do to help developing the scene, the community here in Chicago. Jessica Fortune Fenner and Andrew Emil are here in the studio with us today. Hey, y'all.
Hey, thanks
Hello.
for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Welcome. Is it your first time in Lumpin' Radio?
It is mine.
Not for me. I've been here before. I forget whose show it was, but it was some years ago because Lumpin's been around for some time. But it's great to be back. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And we invited y'all here. Well, you invited me to participate in one of your upcoming panels for the Viva Acid 2025 program. And we thought it'd be great to invite you to the studio to talk more about the program and just also more about yourselves. Kind of, we're curious for first questions. If you could both tell us a little bit about yourselves. How did you get into the music scene here in Chicago, and how did you get into Viva Acid?
You go first.
Okay. So I've been a musician, traditional musician, I guess you would say. My whole life. I started studying percussion when I was 12, and I did performance, and I played in a symphony where I grew up, and I was playing jazz keyboards and piano, and I started buying records when I was about 16. I grew up in a town, I guess it's a city, Kansas City, Missouri, about 500 miles southwest of here, and I was buying records about 16, 17, and then all these records I was really into were coming from Chicago on labels like Casual, Relief, Prescription, Balance, this kind of thing. These sort of second-generation Chicago house artists like Shay Damier, Glenn Underground, Boo Williams, Gene Ferris, Derek Carter, the list, that sort of little conglomerate of second-gen people, Cash, were all coming from here, and I was just really obsessed with this output of music. So I wanted to come make records in Chicago. So I moved here in 1998. And have been here ever since, and started making records when I first moved here. Went to school at Columbia, studied music there in composition. And I also, while I was here, started working at a DJ store that's no longer there called Midwest Stereo on Clark Street, which was a really famous DJ store in Chicago since the 70s. And while I was there, there were some hip hop producers that worked there, and I went back to their house one day, and they showed me an MPC 60. I had never seen a sequencer before until I saw one of those. And as I said, I grew up with sort of playing instruments was the only way you could do music, and that was the first time I saw music programmed that you could sequence it, and it was really mind blowing. I was like, wow, I want to do that. I don't need to have a band. I don't need to play in an orchestra. I could just write my own music by myself in a corner. I don't got to talk to anybody. But actually later on I would discover that actually making music with other people is much more fun than working by yourself. But at that time I really just wanted to learn how to sequence. So I started working for this guy, Vince Lawrence, at a place called Chicago Tracks Recordings on Larrabee in Chicago. Started doing engineering for him for about 6 years, really learned how to make records, make them sound good, and kind of been on that track ever since, DJing, continuing to make records. And that's sort of my background in music in Chicago. A lot of those people that I started obsessing about their work and really loving it since the beginning have now become friends and peers, and I've worked with a lot of them. So I'd say a lot of my childhood dreams have been fulfilled by just participating in something that spoke to me since I was a kid, and I'm still just honored to be here as a part of this community. And that's my background in music.
I was a wee raver in England in about 1990. I went to my first rave. I was born there and grew up there. I could even go back a little further. I like to tell the story about how when I was 11, Steve Hurley's Jack Your Body was #1 on the top 40 UK charts. And so I was watching that on Top of the Pops every week. While it was #1, the crazy video with the woman's legs going around her head, like #1, and it was like, wow, what is this? What is this crazy video, and what is this music? And then fast forward to when I was about 16, and that's when rave started happening. And my dear cousin Edward said, hey, you have to come to one of these things with me. And I was like, okay. And actually ended up taking my parents to my second rave. Shout out there to them for being cool. I immersed myself in that culture over there. I ended up not doing school anymore and leaving home and living in a squat with a bunch of DJs and promoters when I was 17. And then about a year later, I had the opportunity to come to the United States. And took that, and then ended up in Milwaukee. My ex-husband was from Milwaukee. And so I was there, and here I am an hour north of Chicago, right? Which, obviously, Steve, being from Chicago, that was a reference point. But I felt often that we had a little bit more awareness of how important Chicago was all the way over in England than maybe the Midwest did here. It was a weird thing to discover. And then I started DJing. I also grew up playing instruments, flute, piano, saxophone, but started DJing later when I was about 24, living in Milwaukee, after seeing Super Jane's first gig together down here and realizing that Colette and Heather and Dee and Dehoda was some of the first women DJing that I'd seen up close. I'm not sure if I ever saw a woman DJing at raves in England. I don't remember it. There was certainly a couple who were prominent, but seeing them, and also Elena, I was like, oh yeah, I really want to do this. And it wasn't a conscious thought, but I've noticed that was when I crossed that bridge, right? And then I was the only woman for a long time in Milwaukee DJing out in the clubs. There was one other woman when I first started, and then she had to move away from music to take care of some family things. And so for about 7 years, I was actually the only woman. I was like, what is this? Why? And that was before we had the language and awareness that we do now around how important representation is and various forms of gatekeeping, etc. Then I moved into promoting as well. Some of our major venues were closing down and promoters moving away, and I couldn't live in a city that didn't have regular parties after having so much accessibility in England. And so when I started doing that, I got even more exposure to how much of the music that I loved is in Chicago. You know, I knew it as a dancer and just a person going to parties, but when I'm buying the records, it's like, oh, so many people are down here. And so I was booking a lot of Chicago people in my 15 years of promoting full-time in Milwaukee. And so built some really great relationships there. And when my son graduated high school and decided he was ready to like be okay with not living with me, I was like, okay, I think I'm moving to Chicago. A lot of things just converged at the right time. So I've been here coming up on 3 years in October, and it's just been awesome. I love the city. I love the culture. I have a huge respect for what has been developed here and what people have done and how much it's contributed to the whole world of music. And it's just an honor to be a part of playing as an artist and also facilitating anything that strengthens that.
Amazing.
Wow. Like as you were talking, I'm like, if we were not on the radio right now, I would have like a whole 2-hour conversation with both of you.
We can do that off the radio, totally.
Okay.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. Well, definitely from all the panels and conversations you all have curated, I can tell that you love to talk. So this Last Spacer is also like an undercover, like chatty Cathy. It's kind of crazy because I feel like people will like usually think that I'm the more outgoing one, and then I'm like trying to drag them away from conversations that they get into with people. But I feel like there's definitely some overlap. Like Last Spacer also has some classical like training with drums and percussion. So it's like hearing some overlaps in your story.
Yeah, I was like, yes, I resonate with when I was in high school, I was trying to have a new metal band. And it's hard to work with people, especially looking back, like being that young. And when I realized that dance music was made with drum machines and synthesizers, it was like a light bulb went in my head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, I don't need to actually have a band.
Yeah.
I can do a lot on my own, on my time, and be really serious about it. So it just really shifted my wanting to be a really cool drummer to, wait, I'm just going to figure out how to work these machines.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the exact moment that the light bulb went off. I was just like, he played back the beat on the MPC, and I was like, hold on, you can play that thing and it plays back? Wow. Like, it was revolutionary. It was like, wow, this is so incredible. I can just do this on my own timeline. Amazing.
And also you mentioned Midwest Audio. I remember walking in there a few times. It closed around quarantine, right?
Well, they had the original location was on Clark and Diversey, just across where Gramophone is now. But at that time, Gramophone was south of Diversey on the east side of the street. And it was right on that corner where I think it's a Wow Bow now. But it was on that corner since like 1976. And then they bought another place on Ashland and Belmont, which was like a storage facility that they turned into another retail store, and then they closed the one on Clark and operated the last 10 years off the one on Belmont. So, Sammy Lavi and his wife Betty ran that.
It was on Belmont, you said, for a time?
They had a store on Belmont as well, too, but the original one was on Clark and Diversey.
I think I went to that Belmont store.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the one on Clark and Diversey was like, everybody who was anybody as a DJ used to come in there. They had all these Polaroid collections. Like I told you the story recently, the first time I met Valerie, Psycho Bitch, there was like, she would come in when she was playing Crowbar all the time, her and Terry, and she would come in to get her turntables repaired quite frequently, mind you. Technique 1200s don't need to be repaired that often, but Valerie found a way to really get through those, and she would come in and drop off her turntables and yell at Sammy for a bit and then tear off in her Mustang 5.0, and Sammy would look over to me and be like, "That's why they call her Psycho Bitch."
Yeah, we gotta say Psycho B on the radio. But I think I remember seeing like a video of them with like Terry Bristol playing like 4 turntables all at the same time, and like, so yeah, the turntables probably need some love. So Jessica, from like coming from England to the US, and then it's interesting what you said about how you felt that like Chicago music was almost more revered like overseas than in the Midwest. Is that kind of like a part of why you kind of like hit the ground running and like promoting, and then found your way here to Chicago, like after all those years?
Not consciously, you know, but when I reflect, I'm like, wow, it's wild that I ended up here. Yeah, it wasn't something that I realized ahead of time. It was always in reflection. I think dance music culture in general was more embraced in the UK and Europe, right? There was a time where probably late 80s, where hip-hop culture was blossoming and electronic music culture was blossoming. And I imagine in my head that at some point there's a bunch of industry execs around a table in the States and a bunch in England deciding which way they're going to go. And I think England and Europe were like, we're embracing dance music, and the US industry was like, we're embracing hip-hop. Embracing is maybe too kind of word. Maybe it was more like where we can make the most money. Mm-hmm. But there was that obvious divergence. And so I grew up hearing Radio 1, which is the most well-known radio station, playing the most underground stuff, right? When we talk about the KLF or the Prodigy here, you don't think of it as being top 40 number one chart-topping music, but over there it was, right? And the same for Steve. So I think it was just more ingrained in me. That was like underground culture was the popular culture there at the same time. There was this weird world where it existed in both, whereas here those are kind of polar opposites. But yeah, it definitely explains a lot of my affinity. I remember being sort of 11 years old or something like that, and talking with my best friend, next door neighbor, about what we were going to be when we grew up. And it's like, we should own a nightclub in New York and live on in a penthouse, and it'll be cool. And I completely forgot about that until I was living, just north of Chicago, promoting full-time and DJing full-time and thinking about how to activate spaces. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird, look where I ended up. It wasn't really an intention.
Living the dream.
Living the dream, yeah.
Well, we have a couple minutes before we're going to take a little break to listen to some words from Lumpin', and then we'll get into the Rush Hour Rave, which you're both hopefully going to throw down for. But we'll just take a couple minutes, maybe talk into how you got involved with Viva Acid.
Great.
And maybe it's a segue. I mean, kind of reflecting on your journey throughout music. But yeah, how'd you get involved with Viva Acid?
Oh, great. So, Luis Barro has been a friend of mine since I was a teenager. I used to play a bunch of Luis's parties back in the day. He's a local Chicago man, grew up in Ravenswood on the north side, and he used to throw some of the biggest events in Chicago, raves in the 90s, under the name Vibanauts. And if you were raving in the 90s in Chicago, you went to one of his or Boogie Tribe, or there's only a handful of promoters back then doing that at that level, and went to a ton of Vibanauts parties and used to play for Luis all the time. And then he had left Chicago, moved to the East Coast, worked for Sirius FM, and then ended up in New York. And 5 years ago, he came to me and said, "Hey, I'd like to start this idea where we do something that's more than just throwing events. If I'm going to do something again, I'd like to do this. Let's talk about what this could look like." And so we kind of came up with this idea of what Viva Acid would be, which was something where we have talks, workshops, and things sort of talking more about the culture and focusing more on people in it. So we developed that over time. This is our 5th year, but the first year was 2021, so it was right after COVID or towards the tail end of it. And it was like one day at Primary with like 3 performances and like 2 talks. And then the next year, it became more, about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 talks and like 4 events. And the next year it got bigger. And then the 4th year, last year, was even bigger than that. And so this is, it just seems to keep getting bigger every year. And we're still trying to keep the focus around conversations around creativity, culture, and community. And so, yeah, we're really excited to be continuing on into the 5th year, and just seeing the content grow and people resonating with people. Because I think that a big part of it for us is I call myself sort of a part of this middle school where A lot of the first gen original pioneering people are older than us, but they're like dear friends, and we're connected with them, and I grew up around a lot of them. And then I think we're pretty well connected to the youth as well too. So we kind of live in this middle ground where we try to take a multi-generational approach to featuring voices across the segment and the summit. And we had Jessica come in and help with put together the programming in partnership last year, and then this year we wanted to bring her in to do the whole programming. So I will let her take it from here.
My first experience of Viva Acid was coincidentally when I moved here 3 Octobers ago. That weekend was one of the parties at Spy Bar with Pierre, and it was one of the Viva Acid events. And I just went because I had seen the programming the year before and just thought, wow, this is such a cool event that's happening in Chicago, and it just happened to be the first thing that weekend. So it was like my welcome to Chicago, to actually living here, was a Viva Acid party. And then being on their panels for some of the consecutive years, both as a mod and a panelist. And as Andrew mentioned, doing some reviewing of the subject, the topics, and what that looks like. This year they asked me to come in and design all the panel programming, which is something that I've been doing for some years. I've been putting on some symposiums and workshops in Milwaukee, and also guesting on various panels. And something that I've really been working on the last few years, I was working for a quite well-known designer called Bruce Mao, who is often hired to design solutions to really big problems such as global warming or giving people hope after decades of civil war in Guatemala. These are crazy things he was hired for, not just like graphic design. And one of the questions we ask is, how do we move people from inspiration to action? So sitting on a lot of panels, I was asking myself, this is great. We inspire a lot of people and we give people great information, but how do we get people to a place of being able to act before they leave the space? Because when we have to think about, oh, I was really inspired by being on this radio show with Trqpiteca, and it was awesome, but when I leave, I'm texting 2 people and I'm pulling up the directions to go home, and then I've got to get food, and I'm going to go to a yoga class and tomorrow's work. Having to think about, what do I do with that now in my everyday life to actually activate that is too much for most of us. So that's a really big focus. It had been a focus before they asked me to do the panel work this year, and this is giving me a chance to prototype some of the things that I've been working on how to really activate gatherings and move some of the awesome inspiration we give people into actionable things they can do.
That's a great observation. I definitely noticed that at the Ghetto House Juke and Footwork panel, that there was a call to action at the end saying, hey, don't forget about this community, don't forget about these pioneers, like promote them, remind people, buy their music, support them. And I think that's really important, that kind of like last step.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially like in this attention economy where everyone's competing for your 15 seconds, like Jessica was saying, as soon as you walk out the door, you're on to the next thing, so like it's really should be really interesting to see how this impacts this year's programming.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was really resonating with our plans, with our storefront that we want to do, with what I think about when we leave the club, and when it's Monday through Friday or through even Sunday through Thursday, let's say, and these places are pretty much empty almost every week in the daytime if there's no artist or there's no like selling of tickets, which is fine. That's their business model. And I'm thinking about, how can we do more in a way where it's more continuing to enrich this community, this culture, this scene. I know right now there's like a step in like coffee shops with like DJs and stuff, but we'll get more into it after.
Yes. So just to recap, Andrew, Jessica, and Viva Acid have been working on this Viva Acid program for 2025. It's going to be October 2nd through 5th. And more information, tickets, registration, RSVPs, all that at vivaacid.com. We'll go way in depth into the panel programs as well as the after parties. During the after party for our show. So we're going to take a little break to listen to some words from London Radio. Then we're going to get into the mix with Fortune and Change Request during the Rush Hour Rave right after this. And then we'll be back for the after party with a sneak peek at our upcoming performance calendar and the Viva Acid program. So stay tuned here on Trqpiteca.
FM.
You're in the mix with Fortune
and Change Request.
This is the Rush Hour Rave, Trqpiteca FM on Lumpin' Radio.
your feet, ask yourself, can you dance to my beat?
Keep pushing on, things are gonna get better. Temple left by our soul descendants in a quest for peace, energy, and light. If you were to find this temple, do you have the knowledge to enter the temple? Do you want it? And if you had it, would you flaunt it? Well, it's yours.
putting it down. I'm the hottest round. I told y'all y'all can't stop me now. Listen to me now. I'm lasting 20 rounds. And if you want me, then come on get me now. Is you with me now? Then biggie bounce. I know you dig the way I switch my style. People sing around. The people gather round. The people jump around. Get your freak on. 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 People you don't know, me and Timberland been hot since 20 years ago. What the dealio? Now what the drillio? If you wanna battle me, then let me know. Got the feeling, son. Let me throw you some. People, here I come. That's with me when I'm done. We got the radio shit.
Hey party people, we're back for more Trqpiteca FM. I hope that y'all are like feeling hot and sweaty like we are, recovering from the rush hour rave with Change Request and Fortune. What were y'all like channeling for the rave today?
I wanted to get a couple of nods to Chicago folks in there after chatting about how impactful Chicago has been. So a little Lester Fitzpatrick, and there was a kink interpretation of Pierre's classic in there. So yeah, and I've just been feeling very techno-y lately with some of the state of the world and things that are going on. It's like techno time for me a little bit.
Does it like kind of like transport you, or like is it also the kind of like, I mean, it's a difficult moment, right? Where what we're seeing like genocide unfold in Gaza. We're seeing a lot of political violence in the U.S. with people being deported and very wrongfully so. And I definitely feel like music sometimes feels like a way to like tap into that, like that pain and anguish, but also at the same time like be able to kind of find community and find joy like on the dance floor at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way to connect, and it's as a DJ for me, it's just an expression, right? It's a way to move that energy around, and this is the creative expression of that. And then hoping that, obviously not in the studio, but when there's a dance floor, that is something that resonates for people and they find their own, whatever expression they need. It might be something completely different, but that they connect with that.
I think about sort of the interpretation of your name, the Rush Hour Rave. Like when I was growing up, rave to me was a counterculture away from popular culture, like the outside. And also it was a multi-genre approach, like house techno and drum and bass were key genres that you would find at raves like all the time. It was pretty much those three in the States, mixed in with some happy hardcore if you were around that in the 90s. But
maybe a little trance thrown in if you're in Florida, some breaks.
Sure. But definitely house techno and drum and bass in this area of the world.
Definitely. Well, thank you both so much. And there was definitely plenty of acid mixed in there, which brings us back to Viva Acid.
Fancy that.
Wow, look at how that works. So looking ahead, October 2nd through 5th, you have is this the 5th year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it started in 2021 and it's grown, like I mentioned earlier, gotten bigger ever since. And so this is year 5. We've learned about some logistical things over the years. We, at one point, had 9 different venues involved over 4 days, which is a total mess. Don't do that. So now we've kind of concentrated it down to just 3, and then a 4th sort of underground event. So the Thursday night will be a premiere of a film that Luis has been working on for some time called Children of Acid, which features actually interviews with 2 people in this room, and it's finally premiering along with Rebecca Goldberg and Steve Noah at Poldache for the event. And we'll have talks earlier that day at Lincoln Park Room, which is a pretty cool spot in Lincoln Park. and then all the talks and workshops will happen in the same place. I'll let Jessica get into the programming of that, but the next two nightly events will both be at the same venue at Avondale Music Hall, which is a really fun independent venue that we like a lot in Avondale and Milwaukee. It's about an 800 cap. You walk in, it's a big dance floor, which is awesome. That's about it. And then the Sunday event will be an underground event at an undisclosed location, cough, cough, Goose Island, but around that area. So that's what we have for events. And then the programming, if you want to talk more about that.
Sure. So the first day is the Thursday, and there's 3 panels every day, and the way it's structured is that the first day is foundational knowledge and principles. So we have securing your business, money talks. I won't run through all the panelists because we'll be here all day, but we have some awesome panelists, including Remarkable, who's playing on Friday night and has been an amazing voice out of Detroit / the East Coast. And she actually teaches a music business program at NYU. So really excited to have her voice, as well as some consultants who are in the legal world, and Sluggo and Julius. And then that continues with maximizing reach and protecting legacy, which is going to try and cover quite a lot of topics, but digital visibility, building a team, and touching on AI tools and challenges as well, which is something that actually Andrew is going to be on that panel and has been doing some very cool work in the AI music space in a way that asks the question, how do we do this with integrity and make sure that artists are still getting compensated? So I'm really excited for that piece of the conversation. And again, we have some legal voices as well in that conversation who've contributed to some pretty powerful standard setting around rights to your music and IP. That's Lauren Wells. So Gene Ferris also on that panel. And then Fueling Creativity to close out the night. Power and Resilience is about not just self-care, but self-care is a part of it. We also have Dr. Shannon Switzer from Sensophonics, audiologist, to talk about sound. And so we'll get into a variety of ways to think about how we harness our power and resilience. Then the second day, we move from like foundational knowledge and conversation into community building. I'm just really excited for all of the talks this year. Honestly, I could talk about them all a lot, but claiming space and shaping culture is some of the things that you obviously think about, like how do we protect our music spaces and build those, especially when we're seeing corporate takeovers, both of venues, independent venues, festivals, etc. And we'll definitely be getting into talking about KKR, Superstruct, how do we respond to things like that? Some of the different, I think it's really important to talk about polarization, right? Some of these subjects are really polarizing, understandably, but how do we also include voices who fall in the in-between and open up discussions on polarizing subjects? So I'm really excited to have Danny Deal moderating that one. Hyperactive will be on there, Steve Noah and Soraya. And then Thriving Through Opposition, the trans experience. This, again, for me is a really powerful opportunity to do this panel. I collaborated with Mamadou on designing some of these, and this was something he thought would be a really strong way to provide voice for folks while sitting alongside their peers and bring that voice to the conversation. So that'll be Mamadou, Acid Daddy, Certified Scruffian, Essence, Glamour Cadaver, and Nico. And yeah, just thrilled that they will all participate. And closing out that night, Building Networks and Elevating Communities, which we'll talk about mentorship, very, very important piece, and how we break traditional gatekeeping. And you will be on that panel.
Yes, I'm excited for that. Thank you so much. And having I Am Brandon, the moderator, Sassmouth, and Twan, so being in conversation with people from like different scenes in Chicago, I think that's also really important, because I think your experience is so different depending on like where you're plugged in.
Yeah, Yeah, and thank you for noticing that, because that has been a lens that I've wanted to bring to every one of the panels. Having folks who have different perspectives from different niches of what that looks like in their communities, whatever the subject matter may be. And so then the last day, as we talked about earlier, the importance of turning inspiration into action. The last day is focused on implementation. So where are we seeing people really taking action and trying to initiate growth or strengthening or protection of Chicago culture, music culture. So the first panel is an awesome panel again. I may be a little biased, but it is a panel of people who are putting on panels in Chicago. So we've seen an emergence of organizations doing panel conversations more and more often. And so the question is, what are you seeing that makes you want to do this in Chicago? And what are the goals and what are the impacts you're seeing, and how are we building a future here? What's the collective progress, and how are we elevating Chicago and people in it, the creatives in it? Because that is obviously a goal when people are putting on this type of programming. Passing the torch, knowledge is power, intergenerational wisdom sharing. Very excited to have Aria, who's doing Midwest Rave Culture Archive, and DJ Psycho B, and Javon Jackson, Mamadou, Rory Layton, who are all doing awesome projects on that. And I should just mention some of the folks from the previous panel, because I didn't. The panel of panelists, Dave Chavez, who for the city of Chicago, John Renecki, who does the Chicago Electronic Music Conference, Luis Barrow, Viva Acid, and Olivia Mancuso, who does the Chicago Music Nexus, and Stephanie Garza, who just had last weekend her event, Latinos in the House, which speaking to her was really awesome, because her whole focus is we often get left out of the conversation, but historically have been such an important part of the culture. So that's for the first panel. And then we'll wrap up with Your Turn Now, Igniting Your Success, which is where attendees will ask panelists for their feedback and ideas. So I am, for example, inspired to do this after being at Viva Acid the past 3 days. We hope you will all come for all 3 days. What should I do next? And they can either pick one of the panelists and say, Vince Lawrence, because of your years and years of experience in the music industry, what would you do here? Or maybe to DJ Heather, as again, someone who's been in the industry for years, but is also focusing on her brand. H is for hustle, as well as having run record labels. Or say, I've got a roadblock here. How would you address this roadblock? Or perhaps just pose a question for whoever wants to answer from the panel, saying, give me some feedback that I can take away and do something with right away. Not maybe some abstract advice, but something really actionable. So we will have 6 people up there, Hieroglyphic being Reed Barton Golden, who's from Infamous PR, Vince Lawrence, Ghetto Mark, DJ Heather, and Chachi Guerrero, and I'll be moderating that one. So everybody come to that and get lots of actionable insight into what you want to do with your music communities and artistic paths.
Speaking of that too, all of these are free, absolutely free. This costs no money to attend. All you have to do is register at vivaacid.com. So we've always wanted to provide the panel programming for free, so we can get the most people involved as possible. So I think it's always good to remind that you get an action-packed 3 days that Jessica just described for free 99. So definitely come out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, is it also all ages or?
Yep, it's all ages. The events at night are not all ages, but there are 2 of them that are 18 and over. So all of the events at Avondale Music Hall are 18 and over. And I realized that I actually didn't go through who's playing these events, so my fault. But we can do that really quickly.
Definitely.
The Pulaski Thursday night is, like I said, the Children of Acid film premiere. And then we have Rebecca Goldberg from Detroit doing a live show as the 313 Acid Queen with Steve Noah playing that night as well. And then Friday, October 3rd at Avondale Music Hall is a party in partnership with a party called Tribe. So that was going to be Byron Aquarius, Oliver Dollar, Remarkable, and the Tribe DJs. Saturday night, same venue. This is a Vibanauts 30-year anniversary, and that's going to be really 90s rave focused, but all still active artists now, but people who are very popular then, and also multi-genre. So we're looking at Josh Wink, Fotech, who is now touring again. So anybody that's into drum and bass,
That's exciting.
That's a not miss one there. And then Heather and Sluggo. So that's a pretty standard lineup you would find in the 90s. All of those folks are still very much active artists today. And then the Sunday party is a party in collaboration with House Calls doing an area code event, which is their underground brand. And that features LA's Juliet Mendoza, myself, Andrew Emil, Dylan Gold, and Misbehavin'. And that is at a secret location in Wink Wink, Goose Island. So that's the events for night programming.
Awesome. That is like an action-packed weekend. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I started out saying I wasn't going to call out everyone's names and then called out most people's names.
As you should. That's okay. We're here to drop the names.
Yeah.
We're here to let the people know.
So I just want to add the couple that I did leave out at the beginning because
please
that's
do.
not cool. So Julius the Mad Thinker will be on day one, moderating the first panel, along with the folks I already said. And then Lady D is moderating the second one. That's the one with Jean and Andrew and Lauren. And then for the last panel on the first day, Jaggy is moderating the Fueling Creativity, Power and Resilience. Zarina from 5 Mag, shout out on your 20 years. Whoop, whoop. Dr. Shannon Switzer, who I already mentioned. M-Doc from Tribe. And then Melody, also known as Mother Bear, will be talking about harm reduction also. And I think I covered Cody Kirby from House Schools on day 2. I don't think I mentioned him, so he's in Claiming Space and Shaping Culture. Thank you. Shout out to everybody. You're all amazing.
But I feel like looking at these flyers, you might have still missed some people because there's a whole gramophone live stream and workshops in collaboration with Fem House, which I was able to attend some of the workshops they did in Miami during Winter Music Conference. They also had a panel with Lady D, I believe, and Crystal Waters, and a couple of other people as well. And I also got to attend the Femi Awards, which was like their first annual awards. It was amazing. And so I'm glad that this collab is happening. So do you want to chat a little bit more about those collabs?
Sure. You can talk about the workshops. I would just say that these are all happening, the panels and the workshops, in the same space at the Lincoln Park Room on different floors. So those are all together. Feel free to talk about those.
So with the workshops, absolutely, the folks over at Fem House are awesome. Leah and her founding partner, Lauren Spalding, that goes by her Mix-a-Lot. I've done some work with them before through my day job where I market and market music instruments. And so we connected through that, and also a connection of Jessica's as well too, Leah, who goes by LP Giobi. They've been running this platform for some time and really dig what they do, and I really appreciate the angle on music production. And so we've designed a 3-day panel in partnership with them focused on music production that will feature Lady D running 2 hour-long sessions where she's going to discuss branding and how to do it the house music way, and then also finding your voice as an artist. And then that will conclude the 3rd day with a local synthesizer maestro, a gentleman named Fess Grandiose, who was a former colleague of mine at Reverb when we both worked there. And Fess is a really awesome educator and content creator, and he's going to handle the last day of the workshop there. The Friday and Saturday, day 2 and day 3 of that, there will be Appleton has come in as a sponsor to create what they're calling a push and move playground. So they will have their Appleton Push and their Appleton Move, the newest one, which is a smaller version of the Push, there from the whole time that you can play with and work to see how it integrates with other synthesizers. We'll have some other outboard synthesizers there, so you'll be able to play with all the instruments while they're there, and then also attend the workshops that will all be on the 1st floor of the building, while the talks and discussions go on the 2nd floor.
So it's a lot, but basically just between 5 and 9, Thursday and Friday, that's where you want to be, and all that cool stuff will be going on, and then Saturday 2 to 6. And if you show up, then you'll end up doing and hearing cool stuff.
And then we also have the gramophone workshop, not workshops, sorry, the in-store DJ sets at Gramophone. There's 3 a day. We worked in partnership with the Chicago Electronic Music Conference, who had us out last year, which we had La Spacer out as part of a panel that Luis and I were doing there with them. And we wanted to work together on something this year, so we had them come in and curate the 3 DJs a day, which is, I believe, 3 to 6, all 3 days at Gramophone, everybody playing vinyl sets. And so that's happening concurrently with the workshops as well and the talks.
Let's take a breather there. So I'm just like curious to know how much time it takes for you to plan, like organize, putting this together, and how big is the team?
Those are really great questions. It takes a lot of time, and the team is very minuscule. We actually need to make it bigger than it is. It's essentially been 3 of us for the first few years, which is Luis Barro, myself, and then Brian Bailly. And then Luis and I have been handling most of it the past 2 years, almost just us 2. And then we brought Jessica to work with us last year, right? It was just last year, or was it the year before as well, too?
Did some light consulting the year before.
Right.
And yeah.
And then this year, we wanted to have her do all of the programming. And it's still just really, honestly, just us 2, which is incredibly understaffed for what we need. So it ends up being a lot more work than if we got some more partners on board. But that's definitely something that we're looking to do in the future, is bring on more staff and more organization. So yeah, that's a really small team right now.
Yeah, I was commenting to Jessica earlier that like the Viva Acid, like the branding is so strong, and then all of the, you know, documentation that y'all do, whether it be, you know, on programs that you're producing and creating, or like these artist profiles or these like historical, you know, kind of like cultural profiles have been really great to see over the years how it's grown and how like you touched a lot of different, you know, on a lot of different kind of like subcultures and like genres within the scene. So definitely it's been great to have you both in the studio and be able to like get a little bit more insight into Viva Acid and into like this year's, so what would you call it, a summit or a like?
Yeah, we're calling it a summit, but I think Jessica and I went back and forth on maybe that's technically not what it is, but it's more than a conference and it's not just an event. So somewhere in between there. I do want to give a shout out to Luis Barro for sure, especially when you mention the content. He owns that channel and we do some strategy together, but that's a lot of Luis's work. And so definitely want to make sure he gets a shout out. And as one of the founders, you know, this is all a big part of that. Luis obviously lives in New York now, so he comes back in town to work on the project, and we work remotely all the time. But yeah, I want to make sure that we give him some credit with that content, because he's absolutely the whiz kid when it comes to putting out that.
Yeah, he's really done. He has amazing level of output and creativity with that. It's pretty mind blowing, as you're saying. It's like, wow.
We need us one of him.
Yeah.
We need that's like, when you're talking about how like much work it is when it's like 2 people, even 3 people with like, you know, I mean, I appreciate that we kind of have gone through this process of like starting off doing monthly events and then whittling it down to really try and focus on quality over quantity and trying to you know, produce events that don't require us to be so focused on like selling as many tickets as possible. Like that really can be stifling for creativity and for, you know, for representation and being able to like highlight artists that we want to, that people, you know, audiences may not be as familiar with, and not having to think, okay, is this artist going to sell this many tickets? Is like, it can be very exhausting. So working with city or other funders or sponsors, I feel like is also, you know, important, but it just takes so much work to be able to produce these events and make sure you're getting everybody, you know, compensated and or, you know, feeling that their contribution is valued.
Yeah, there's such tension between creativity and business,
Yeah.
right? And yet, if you are able to successfully do the business end with integrity, it somehow creates more of a forum to be able to do the creative part. But getting that balance is really tough. It's really challenging.
Yeah, it's capitalism and art living together is such a challenging sword to navigate, you know, like you were mentioning with that, and Jessica too. It's like having to make decisions from a business place or from a bottom line place. It changes the decisions you have to make, and it doesn't always give you the best results because you can't really platform people that you really want to a lot of the time. So we're still trying to figure out that balance, and if anyone figures it out, you know, send us the memo because I think it's a lifelong journey into figuring out how to do that and what matters to you and how to prioritize that.
Yeah, it's a lot of labor of love.
For sure.
But love doesn't pay the bills. You know, if there's like a cultural trust fund out there that, you know, somebody wants to give us the keys to, that'd be great. But we just have a couple minutes left, so I just wanted to share one more time that RSVP, registration, ticket information for all of these panels and events for the Viva Acid. I'm trying to think of a good word.
We just call it a music summit.
Music
right?
summit.
It's so much more than a summit, but that's where we're at for now.
That should be the tagline. So much more than a
So
summit.
much
There
more
you
than a
go.
summit. October 2nd through 5th
Yep.
at www.vivaacid.com.
We have a few limited all access pass tickets left, so you can, for $100, you can get everything, all the events over the whole weekend, and a T-shirt. Or you can go buy individual day tickets if you want, and you can also just register for free for the workshops. So that's all right on the front page of the site.
We love options.
I also want to add in from your website, today's effort, tomorrow's legacy. Yes.
So we will see y'all there. And before we sign off, there's a couple quick events that we need to plug for our upcoming events. So let's see. We do have there you go. Plug that. Plug those flyers. For coming up, Trqpiteca will be playing a set for the Sluts Party, which will be back, and that is a femme-led, queer-centered, sex-positive dance party that's going to be on October 12th. I'll also be playing for Open TV's 10-year anniversary celebration. That's going to be at, I believe it's going to be at Cerise Rooftop, and that's on September 27th. I like that I'm asking myself this question. What are these events going to be? Yes, and so check out OTV. We are OTV. Their information is there. That's from 6 to 11 p.m. And then also at the Lipstick Lounge on September 28th. And that's at the Annoyance Theater. So thank you for tuning in to Trqpiteca FM. And we'll see you on the dance floor.
See you next time.
Bye.
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 Be